Our all sessions will be online on YouTube. It is going to be live streamed. So you can check your presentation later. Then, Megha, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So good morning, everyone. I, Meghatri, moderator of this session, welcomes you all for this today session, fifth of the conference. So first of all, I would like to invite and welcome Ma'am Dr. Sushma Kumari, who is faculty member of Department of Psychiatric Social Work, IBHAS, and our another chairperson, Mr. Ataullah, who is Psychiatric Social Work tutor at CIP Ranchi. So with the permission of Ma'am Dr. Sushma Kumari, I would like to start our this session from the participant, Mr. Atindra Paul. So, ma'am, shall we start?
Yeah, thank you, Megha. There is a little correction. Now I'm not working in the Department of Psychiatric Social Work, but IMAS has started a new department, Department of Human Behavior. I am
Oh,
faculty there. Okay. But basically, I am a trained psychiatric social worker. Thank you. We can start. It's good that I'm seeing that everybody is on time, and credit goes to Bhupender and team. So now we can start.
uh, Mr. Atindra, are you ready to present your session?
Yes,
Hello.
I'm absolutely ready.
Yes. So, do you want me to share your PPT, or you will be sharing from your end?
No. I am not actually used to this thing. You can share this PPT
Okay,
from your
just a
end only. I can just tell to move the slides.
okay. Over to you, Mr. Atindra. Best wishes.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Atindra Paul. I am currently working as a psychiatric social work tutor in Central Institute of Psychiatry, Ranchi. So, today I'm going to present a case study which talks about how efficacious is psychosocial intervention in strained marital relationships with person having alcohol dependence. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So starting off with the introduction part. So as we see that problematic alcohol use, it globally affects individual as well as the family also. The family, it means including children and other household members. And alcohol is one of the leading cause of death also. It leads to death and disability. It's about 3 billion deaths happen every year from the harmful alcohol use. Next slide, please. Alcoholism, it invites a lot of troubles, like economic hurdles, burden, poor marital satisfaction, poor coping skills, uh, stressful interaction pattern, domestic violence, separation, kind of divorce, all sorts of things happen. And leaving the members untreated will limit the effectiveness of treatment by not accepting the family system as a major support for change for the individual. Next. So, my study aims about an adult male who has been diagnosed with alcohol dependence syndrome, having strained marital relationship, and the effect of the psychosocial intervention in the treatment outcome of the individual. A single subject method has been used in which the pre and post brief psychosocial intervention was carried out. And this happened with using a face-to-face interview with the patient and also with the spouse. So the clinical and psychosocial history of the patient was assessed. The instrument that has been used are the semi-structured clinical and socio-demographic data sheet, alcohol use disorder identification test, that is the audit, and the marital adjustment test, that is MAT. Next. Giving a brief illustration of my case is the index client, who is 42 years old, male, married, a businessman, educated up to class 6, hailing from a nuclear Bengali-speaking Hindu family of lower socioeconomic status of rural area of West Bengal. And the client presented the history of escalating alcohol use starting at the age of 20 due to stresses like business losses and financial fraud. His symptoms included sadness, loss of interest in work, anger outburst, low self-confidence, restlessness, anxiety, and this happened over several years, leading to impaired functioning and strained relationship with the spouse. And for this purpose, the client was referred to psychiatric social worker for assessment and appropriate psychosocial intervention. So the provisional diagnosis was made as alcohol dependence syndrome according to ICD code, it's F10.2. So coming over to the assessment part, family assessment was conducted, which revealed that the client and his spouse had strained relationship as the client was very much abusive, be it verbally, be it emotionally or physically towards his spouse since their marriage. And the boundary was found to be diffused as the client alcohol dependence made the family completely dysfunctional. There was high noise level in the family along with extreme arguments, and there was a blame game. Next. Coming on to the psychosocial intervention part. So the intervention part was planned in both individual as well as the family level. In individual level, first, the basic thing was done. It was to build rapport and therapeutic alliance with the client. So it was done by allowing ventilation to the client, and whatever he will tell, it will be kept confidential. In that manner, it was built up. Then we moved to after doing that in another session, we moved to psychoeducation parts. We psychoeducated the client about the illness, how it affects the mental health, how it's lead to mental health condition. So this was being done, and how it affects the relationship and the maladaptive pattern that is that happens due to this. That was meant psychoeducate. After several sessions, we also did the relapse prevention strategies that was being explained to the client, the how to control or how not to get into relapse. What are the factors that contribute to relapse? Like explained how environmental, psychological, and behavioral factors that contributes to relapse. So, in order to control relapse, what are the techniques that can be used? For example, the 4D technique that was also explained. Later, he was involved in social group work, where he would see other people, other similar patients like him, who are involved in alcohol intake, and how is their journey going, how they have improved in both ways. So that was done. And in family level, again, the building of rapport and therapeutic alliance was stressed on. Family was also psychoeducated about what is the need of the spouse in the therapy, and to mainstream bringing the patient to the mainstream of the society. Next, the major focus was on the marital therapy, which was done in conjoint session. So there, the communication, how to improve the communication pattern that was stressed on, and how to manage conflict in the household, that was also kept in view, and looking to the matters in a positive perspective, that was also done. And later, home visit was done in order to assess the home environment, the surrounding, resource mapping. So as the patient is from lower socioeconomic status, so that was also being done. Next slide. Psychosocial diagnosis according to ICD-10, it was kept Z56, problem related to employment and unemployment, Z63, problem in relationship with spouse or partner, 72, problems related to lifestyle, and Z72.1, that is alcohol use. Here is the clinical reflection of my case. All over 18 session was been conducted, and the participants were the patient, spouse, and joint session was done. With patient, 5 sessions; with spouse was 3 sessions, and the joint session was taken around 10. And duration of session used to be around 40 to 45 minutes due to time constraints, and we had to see other patients. Period of session was from April to August 2022. Next. So as we talked about the pre-test and the post-test score that we have taken. So for audit, the alcohol use disorder identification test, the maximum score was 40, and it was when it was administered earlier, it was 38. That the impression revealed that it is a very severe level of alcohol dependence. And with time, we also did a mid intervention in order to see how much progress are we doing. And then at last, the score was around 7, which is lower level risk of alcohol dependence. Next. For MAT also, here for MAT, the higher the score, the higher is the level of adjustment. So the maximum score was 158. Previously, it was 52, which revealed lower level of marital adjustment. Later, it was 121. That showed one higher level of marital adjustment. Next. Coming on to the discussion part, the psychiatric social work intervention, it really observed a difference in the pre and the post-state assessment scores. There was an acute reduction in negative expressed emotion burden with elevation in coping skills and quality of life as well. So this study also found support from O'Farrell and Clemens, as they found the role of marital and family therapy in strengthening the coping mechanisms of the family affected by alcohol use. Next. So in order to conclude, this case study has showed that how psychosocial intervention how overall psychosocial intervention reduce marital conflict, enhance in illness insight, promote positive thinking, improve social functioning, and also the problem-solving skills, which boost self-esteem. And psychosocial intervention is very much essential in the management of ADS to bring person back into the mainstream of the society. And the spouse living with problem drinkers are at risk of developing psychological and social problems. Next. Here are my references. Thank you.
Thank you, Atindra, for a very good presentation, because you are brought a very relevant issue that we are observing that in day-to-day life, the number of or the prevalence of alcohol dependence is increasing and the number of divorce is also increasing. So
Yes,
in
ma'am.
that case, you have did a wonderful job. Because I am seeing only 8 participants are here. So anybody has any question and query from him?
Thank you, Atin. Though you
Thank
have completed your presentation on time as well. So thank you. I have few queries. Just
Yes, yes.
though you have planned a very well management plan, as there was a marital discord, marital dysfunctionality was there as well, which has shown in the M80 unit. So you have said ki you have planned some joint session as well and some individual session. So I just want to know ki what are the things which you have taken in the joint session?
Okay. So in the joint session, the focus was mainly on the marital therapy part, because which was done marital therapy or couple therapy, you may say. So for that purpose, both the participants, both the client as well as her wife had to stay there. And also, apart from marital therapy, this psychoeducation part means how one person will help another in order to including the treatment process. So that was the part was focused on in the joint sessions.
Okay, thank you. Just one another last thing. Usually what we see in alcohol dependence syndrome disorder cases is ki whenever a person used to depend on the alcohol or used to smoke cigarette or take any substance, his or her coping strategy is somewhere get compromised and dysfunction. That's why they used to take the substance. So
Yes.
is there any assessment you have done for the coping strategies, or his coping style was good? But I don't think
No,
he
his
has started alcohol, so his coping strategy was good. So
no,
have you done
absolutely not.
anything or that?
No, actually, I haven't administered a scale or something like that, or particularly focused on the coping mechanism as such. But overall, holistically, while conducting session, how to cope now, how to cope with the alcohol, how the spouse can help in coping of the client. So that was stressed on. That was done in a very holistically manner, not particularly focusing on coping and conducting sessions for like 1 or 2 sessions for coping. Not like that. I have done not did a test also. So that's the thing. I think you have put up a very good thing came into light. Further, I'll also plan something like that for some other patients. So in order to focus particularly on coping.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Atindra, one question also from my side.
Sure,
because
sure, ma'am.
family might have lots of expectation why we are seeing only the coping of the patient. Because when you are talking about the marital adjustment, how the spouses are also adjusting with that person, that also
Yes.
matters, because you have included in your intervention that you have included the person in the group session also. So
Yes,
it
yes,
is
ma'am.
very pertinent what you discussed during how you address the expectations of the spouse, because without addressing those issues, we can't talk about the marital adjustment.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
So how you address those issues? Because we can't
Sorry,
blame the spouses.
sorry,
Bhupinder?
timekeeper have to jump in. Please, we are
No.
running behind the schedule.
Okay, Bhupinder, thank you.
So thank you to Mr. Atindra for your presentation, and thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
So shall we proceed to the further presentation?
Sure.
So I would like to invite Mr. Nang Kumachanti for his presentation. Mr. Nang, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry,
Oh,
ma'am. I'm
sorry,
Miss Nang Kumachanti Munda.
Miss Nang. Yeah, sorry for the. So yeah, are you ready for your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you want me to share your PPT?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Oh,
Miss Nang, is it possible for you to
Ah,
make your
oh,
video visible?
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Uh,
over to you, Miss Nang. You may start.
मैम सॉरी मैम हम अपना स्लाइड को वो भी कर सकते हैं
हेलो
हेलो मैम
या हाँ बोलो
मैम हम ये स्लाइड को आगे फॉरवर्ड नहीं कर पाएंगे
हाँ that I will do from my end.
अच्छा
You may start. हाँ you may start.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन माय नेम इज नांग कुमाचांति मुंडा and currently I have pursued my master's degree on from Arunachal University. So I am I'm from Khamti community. So I would start from my presentation, uh, which is challenges faced by HIV AIDS family caregivers of Arunachal Pradesh.
Next slide, please.
Next. And here are my some contents. So, and here are the introductions. Like according to WHO, HIV is an infection that which attacks the human immune system, which so it is important that HIV testing services sorry, ma'am.
Don't be confused. You carry on.
Go to the next slide. Skip that one. Oh, you start from here.
Even directly, she can start from the aims and methodology.
Sir, can I speak in Hindi, please, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Sir, I'm not.
I cannot wait for regional languages if someone is asking. So I jump before the chairperson. Sorry. Ma'am, please allow her to speak in the regional language or
Sure,
local
sure.
language.
Sorry, ma'am. Uh, Ma'am, first introduction. Can we move to the first page introduction?
Megha, ma'am, will you please make the first slide, introductions first slide? हाँ.
तो जैसे कि हम लोग का ये एरिया में मेन चीज तो हम लोग का ये मेरा ये टॉपिक चूज करने का मतलब ये एम ये था कि मतलब हम लोग का ये एरिया में हम एक नामसाई डिस्ट्रिक्ट से बिलोंग करता है अरुणाचल प्रदेश का, जिसमें मतलब HIV एड्स का जो रेट है वो सबसे ज्यादा मतलब इंक्रीजिंग रेट में है, जिसका वजह से हमको ये टॉपिक चूज करने का मतलब एक इंटरेस्ट हुआ। अ, और इसमें एक काम करने का, फिर उससे उससे रिलेटेड जो इंडिया का साउथर्न पार्ट में मोस्टली HIV एड्स का केसेस तो मतलब इंक्रीजिंग रेट में है, जिसमें हम थ्री थ्री स्टेट्स का रेट पकड़ा है, जिसमें आंध्र प्रदेश जो कि 0.69% में है, फिर तेलंगाना जो कि 0.49 में है, फिर कर्नाटका जो 0.47 में है। फिर उसका बाद नॉर्थ ईस्ट में देखा जाएगा तो मोस्टली मिजोरम जो कि 2.32% में है, फिर नागालैंड 1.45% और मणिपुर 1.18। तो फिर ये सब को देख के हम जो एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया को सेलेक्ट किया है जो कि नामसाई डिस्ट्रिक्ट, क्योंकि हम भी एक नामसाई डिस्ट्रिक्ट से ही बिलोंग करता है। तो फिर नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। फिर यहाँ में अरुणाचल प्रदेश का जो रेट है, जो टोटल केसेस जो 900 अभी रिसेंट डाटा का बेसिस में 902 केसेस पॉजिटिव केसेस बता रहा है। फिर उसी में जब सबसे ज्यादा हाईएस्ट रेट है 714 केसेस नामसाई में। फिर उसका बाद सेकंड में आ रहा है पापुम पारे जो कि ईटानगर का डिस्ट्रिक्ट है अरुणाचल प्रदेश। फिर फिर उसी में मतलब जैसे कि HIV एड्स को लेके एक सोशल इम्पैक्ट आ जाता है मतलब पीपल को। फिर और जो पीपल्स लिविंग विद HIV एड्स है, फिर जो जैसे कि वो लोग ज्यादातर पेशेंट लोग स्टिग्मा एंड डिस्क्रिमिनेशन फेस करता है वर्क प्लेसेस में, हेल्थ केयर सेटिंग्स में, और कम्युनिटी कम्युनिटी बेसिस वो लोग का लोकल कम्युनिटी बेसिस में। फिर नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। यहाँ में मेरा सम ऑफ द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है जो कि केयर गिविंग सिस्टम को हम देखा है। फिर नेक्स्ट जो चैलेंजेस जो केयर सेरो नेगेटिव जो चैलेंजेस फेस किया है, जो कि केयर गिवर्स जो था वाइफ ऑफ द सेरो नेगेटिव सेरो पॉजिटिव। फिर थर्ड में है to analyze the family perception towards HIV AIDS and their awareness. तो यहाँ में दिया गया सम ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स जो कि स्टिग्मा और डिस्क्रिमिनेशन और मिसकंसेप्शन को वो करता है, दिखाता है, जिसमें ह्यूमन राइट्स को लेके भी वायलेशन देखा जाता है हम लोग पीपल्स लिविंग विद HIV एड्स को लेके। फिर इसका मेन मेन HIV इन्फेक्शंस जो इंडिया में मतलब फैलने का वो है, वो है अनप्रोटेक्टेड हेट्रोसेक्सुअल्स बिहेवियर्स और अनप्रोटेक्टेड हेट्रोसेक्सुअल होमोसेक्सुअल बिहेवियर एंड अनसेफ इंजेक्टिंग ड्रग्स यूजर्स, जो कि यहाँ में हम लोग को नामसाई एरिया में सबसे ज्यादा पाया जाता है। तो IV जो इंजेक्टिंग ड्रग यूजर्स जो हो गया। तो अ, यहाँ में रिसर्च ड्यूरिंग द रिसर्च हम जो क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी यूज किया है, जिसमें इन डेप्थ केस स्टडी को फॉलो किया गया है एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया को लेके। और यहाँ में हम अरुणाचल का 2 डिस्ट्रिक्ट को लिया है, जिसमें नामसाई डिस्ट्रिक्ट और पापुम पारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट को मेनली फोकस दिया गया है। और टोटल 10 to 12 हम रेस्पोंडेंट को सेलेक्ट किया है मेरा केस स्टडी में। हो गया। फिर इसका मेजर फाइंडिंग्स जो हमको मिला है केयर गिविंग प्रीडोमिनेंट ऑन वाइफ्स, जिसमें ये देखा गया है कि जेंडर डायनेमिक्स ऑफ wives is predominantly responsible for caregiving to their seropositive husbands. They also have to take care of their family members being along with their own children. फिर दूसरा है mental health conditions of caregivers, जिसमें caregivers were experiencing symptoms of depression, फिर chronic stress and emotional burdens due to their family and surrounding pressures, like जैसे कि वो लोग का बच्चा को केयर करना, फिर लेस इनकम होना, फिर अनएम्प्लॉयड होना। जैसे कि हम जितना भी यहाँ में जो केसेस हम स्टडी किए हैं उसमें मेजर रेस्पोंडेंट जो अनएम्प्लॉयड था, क्योंकि वो लोग जो एग्रीकल्चर बेसिस में ही एग्रीकल्चर वर्क में ही डिपेंडेंट था। इसलिए फिर लेस सपोर्ट फ्रॉम सोसाइटी, क्योंकि एच आई वी एड्स जो भी पर्सन था वो सब जो सोसाइटी में ज्यादातर लोग एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता था। तो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। तो उसमें नेक्स्ट वो था इशू था फाइंडिंग्स था, जो कि अनअवेयरनेस ऑफ एच एड्स, जो कि फैमिली में ज्यादातर नहीं होता था। मतलब मैक्सिमम जो भी केस हम स्टडी किया है उसमें जो ज्यादातर केस में अवेयरनेस नहीं था, क्योंकि वो लोग ज्यादातर रूरल बैकग्राउंड से बिलोंग करता था। तो मैं यही था। फिर नेग्लिजेंस ऑफ हेल्थ केयर नीड्स, जिसमें पर्सन्स को सेरोनेगेटिव पर्सन्स को प्रॉपर हेल्थ केयर नहीं मिलता था। फिर societal discrimination and stigmatizations, as this study found that families with HIV/AIDS are still facing social stigma and discrimination in the communities, as they are unable to participate in the social events, क्योंकि वो लोग जो ज्यादातर एग्रीकल्चर में ही बिजी रहता था, तो वजह से। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। फिर इसमें हम कंक्लूड करना चाहेगा, जैसे कि HIV AIDS remains a significant global health changes with far social, economic, and medical implications. Despite advance in treatment and prevention, the virus continues to affect millions of people worldwide. The prevalence of HIV in the society is a sensitive issue where the victims are mostly discriminated and marginalized. It is crucial to continue efforts to raise awareness and reduce stigma and involve efforts through testing and treatment. That it can be essential to approach the situations with empathy, understanding, and a willingness to find constructive solutions to benefit everyone involved. So, thus, it can be concluded by continuing dedications and collaborations. We can hope to achieve a world free from the burden of HIV. Next step. तो here are the some pictures जो कि हम इस स्टडी में डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया था। फिर इसमें फर्स्ट फर्स्ट फोटो में जो केयर गिवर और रेस्पोंडेंट है सेरोपॉजिटिव रेस्पोंडेंट, फिर जो मिडिल फोटो जो है वो जो एच आई वी जो पॉजिटिव पर्सन है, जो एक गवर्नमेंट से जो फ्री मेडिसिन प्रोवाइड करता है, वो था। फिर ये लास्ट में एक DIC ऑफिस है जो कि ड्रॉपिंग सेंटर, क्योंकि चौंथम सर्कल का पाली विद्यापीठ उनके एक वो है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, फिर उसका फोटो है। फिर और नेक्स्ट हम इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करने के लिए मोस्टली गांव का, फिर एक 2-3 रिहाब सेंटर्स भी हम विजिट किया था। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Miss Nang. Now I would like to invite chairpersons for their concluding remarks. Ma'am, over to you, please.
थैंक यू मेगा। ना आपने बहुत अच्छे से जो टॉपिक आपने चूज किया वो नॉर्थ ईस्ट का सबसे प्रिवेलेंट इश्यूज है और नागौर सबसे ज्यादा फंडिंग करती है। इन स्पाइट ऑफ दैट 714 केसेस एक प्लेस पे जो प्रिवेलेंस रेट हमें दिख रहा है, दैट इज टू हाई। इसमें देखो, एज ए सोशल वर्कर वी शुड फोकस मेनली ऑन द फैमिली सपोर्ट ग्रुप्स हम बना सकते हैं जो कम्युनिटी में अवेयरनेस क्रिएट कर पाएंगे, है ना। तो आप अगर कम्युनिटी में काम कर रहे हो, रादर वी शुड नॉट वेट ऑन द गवर्नमेंट और द अदर एजेंसी। अगर आप सपोर्ट ग्रुप क्रिएट कर पाओ ऑफ द फैमिली मेंबर्स, दैट विल बी वेरी useful for them. They will create awareness among their own communities. Thank you. Over to Atul.
या थैंक यू मैम। सो यस मैम, जब आप प्रेजेंट कर रहे थे तो मुझे अपने MSW का फर्स्ट पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन याद आ गया मैम। तो ये तो ऑनलाइन है, हमने तो फिजिकल प्रेजेंट किया था एंड आई वाज रेस्टलेस, सो इट वाज वंडरफुल। मैम, मैं बस आपके जैसे आपने सोशल वर्क का हम इंटरवेंशन कैसे कर सकते हैं, हमने स्टडी कर लिया बट हम इंटरवेंशन क्या करें। सो मैं उसी पे आ रहा था कि एक जो ग्रुप क्रिएट करते हैं, जो हम एक अल्कोहल एनोनिमस के नाम से भी करते हैं, है ना। सो काइंड ऑफ वैसा ही ग्रुप हम बना के वी कैन हेल्प द इंडिविजुअल सो डेट कि उनका एजुकेशन लेवल जो है सेंसिटाइज हो जाए इस टॉपिक से। मेरा बस मैं बस एक चीज समझना चाहता हूँ ना कि ये आपने क्वालिटेटिव स्टडी किया है, सो क्या
हाँ,
ये आपका MSW डेजर्टेशन का पार्ट है या फिर ये आपने बस एक प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई किया और आपने ये स्टडी की।
सर ये मतलब हम एक MSW डिसर्टेशन का टॉपिक
हम्म।
से ही वो किया है। पर ये जो इसमें मेनली फोकस करने का मेन रीजन ये था कि मतलब हमको एक, क्योंकि हम वही नामसाई डिस्ट्रिक्ट से बिलोंग करते हैं और मेनली जब तक कि हम छोटा से सुन के आ रहे हैं कि मतलब ड्रग्स ड्रग्स यूज जो मोस्टली बहुत यूथ लोग बहुत ज्यादा कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं। फिर
यस।
उसका रीजन फिर अगर जानना है कि हम वो लोग जो ज्यादातर ड्रग्स में एंगेज होता था, और मेनली जब हम NGO सब में विजिट किया था, रिहाब सब में विजिट किया था, तो मोस्टली 12 ईयर्स का मतलब यंग बॉय सब भी था जो कि HIV पॉजिटिव था। फिर वो लोग का ट्रीटमेंट भी चल रहा था, तो वो सब केसेस का वजह से मतलब हम जो इंटरेस्ट लगा था तो उसी पे काम करेगा बोल के हम जो डेजिटेशन का टॉपिक।
गुड। अच्छा, जब आपने क्वालिटेटिव स्टडी किया है तो एक क्वेश्चन आयर बनाया होगा, कुछ
हाँ,
शॉर्ट
हाँ,
इंटरव्यू, कुछ क्वेश्चंस होंगे।
हाँ,
तो
हाँ।
कैसे प्रोसेस डेटा कैसे प्रोसेस किया आपने, ये जो आप 4-5 थीम्स जब आप पहुंचे हैं जिसमें सोसाइटल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन आपने शो किया है, वाइफ्स के साथ जो इंटरव्यू करके जो आपके रिजल्ट्स आए हैं, तो
हम्म।
एक की प्रोसेस कैसे पहुंचे आप। इट वाज क्वाइट
सर
इंटरेस्टिंग एक्चुअली।
ये प्रोसेस जो मतलब हम पहले मतलब उसको एक इंटरव्यू जैसा मतलब वो लोग को पूछा कि हम मतलब क्वेश्चन प्रिपेयर करके गया था मतलब। और फिर वो लोग को हमको मेनली क्या क्या चीज में फोकस करना था, वो चीज का बेसिस में हम वो लोग को मतलब इंटरव्यू किया था। फिर कुछ कुछ क्वेश्चंस का आंसर्स हमको मिलने के लिए, तो फिर वही इंटरव्यू मेथड ही हम यूज किया था, तो मतलब सेम
Do you
वही
have any
बेसिकली।
प्री जो आपने पहले से कुछ क्वेश्चंस बना के रखे थे? क्योंकि जब हम कोई भी स्टडी व्हाट यू वांटेड टू आस्क जब हम प्लान करते हैं, देखो वो तो सब थीम्स हमें इमर्ज्ड होता है ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ इंटरव्यू, बट मेजर थीम्स जो होता है कि जैसे प्राइमरली आपने वो टाइम अगर भूपेंद्र परमिट करेंगे तब मैं बोलूंगी इसमें, तो होता क्या है क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस आपने किया तो कुछ माइंड में हम रख के चलते हैं। कि हम सर्टेन एरियाज को फोकस करेंगे और वो हमें एक्सप्लेन भी करना, भले ही आप ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चन देते हो, लेकिन हमें उन जो सब थीम्स होता है उसमें हम मॉडिफाई करते हैं, जो उनका आते जाता है तो उनका मॉडिफिकेशन क्वेश्चनायर जो हम बनाते हैं पहले से। तो मुझे जो समझ में आ रहा है, हमारे को चेयर पर्सन ये जानना चाह रहे हैं कि आप कुछ चीजों को थीम को लेकर पहले से एज्यूम कर रहे थे, बनाया था या नहीं? एम आई राइट और रॉन्ग?
हाँ, यस मैम।
है ना? तो
इसमें
ये
एक
चीजें
चीज,
हैं कि देखो, जब आप क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस करते हो तो ये प्रोसीजर जनरली यही होता है। यहाँ मैं एक चीज शेयर करूंगी, आई विल जस्ट टेक फ्यू सेकेंड्स, कि HIV पॉजिटिव में जो हमारा सेंटर है, मतलब 20 years बैक आई एम टेलिंग यू व्हाट वर द सर्कमस्टेंसेस फॉर द वाइफ। हमारे यहाँ जब लास्ट स्टेज पे पर्सन होते हैं न्यूरोलॉजी का, जब वेंटिलेटर पर उनको जाना पड़ता है, तब आते हैं। इवन वाइफ माइट नॉट अवेयर अबाउट दैट पर्सन is suffering from HIV, और ये इस आपके केस में there is a positive things, they are quite aware and they can create a group and they can make their own community aware for that, so work for that.
यस मैम। ठीक है,
Can
थैंक यू मैम।
thank
थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you, Miss Nan. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So, shall we proceed further, ma'am?
sure, because we have two more participants with us.
Yes, ma'am. So, I would like to invite Mr. Inshaf to present his PPT. Inshaf, over to you. Inshaf, unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, please share my slide.
Wait. Yes.
Okay, firstly, good morning, everyone. I'm really thankful to ISPSW to approve me a presentation in a national conference. So my case study titled as a case study of the codependent substance use psychosocial perspective. It is guided by Mr. Dr. Sendil. So next slide. So codependence described a person living with or in a relationship with an addicted person. So codependent substance use profoundly affect the family relationship. Overall, the functioning codependency is the psychosocial phenomena where individual develop an excessive emotional or the psychological reliance on the partner, typically one with addiction issues. So the family members' addiction often lead to the members adopting the enabling or the controlling behavior to the manage situation. This codependency disrupt healthy communication, creates emotional stress, and perpetuates the cycle of the dysfunction. So the prevalence of this study is, the study suggests up to 80 to 90% of the families dealing with addiction may be exhibit the level of the codependence behavior. So this study is focusing on the explore the impact of the codependency substance use on the family relationship and the functioning of the family dynamics. And there are two main objectives is there. The first one is to assess the psychosocial factors which are influencing the course and progression of the illness. And the second one is to provide psychosocial intervention to the individual and the family on the basis of our assessment. And the methodology, this case study was a single subject case study done in patient of the CIP. And the psychiatric social work assessment was done the various assessment scales. Based on the assessment, the intervention were provided to the family and the individual also. And there are four assessment tools is used to the study. The first one is the Uday Parikh Socio-Economic Status Scale, which is assessed for the socio-economic background of the family. And the second one is the McMaster assessment device, which is used for the assessing the certain domains of the family and its functioning. The third one is the span feature codependency scale. It is applied in the patient for assessing the codependency level and the enabling behavior of the patient. And the fourth one is the family burden interview schedule, which is assessed for the identifying the certain kinds of the burden in different domains of the family and caregivers. And the case introduction, in this patient 27 years old, Hindu male, unmarried, unemployed, from the middle socio-economic background, belong to the urban area of the district of the Ranchi, Jharkhand. The patient was admitted with the chief complaints of intake of cannabinoids at the age of the 15 years, and the present complaint is a decreased sleep, demanding behavior, irritability, tall climbing, abusive behavior since the last 2 months. The episode was present from the 2018, 2019, 2021. And there are mentioned the family genogram. In the family genogram, we could identify the family history of the multiple substance use in the father. So this is the substance use of the father is the basic threat of this case. The father is frequently influencing and enabling the patient to take the substance from the inside of the home also. And there are revealing the family dynamics. The first thing is the family subsystem. Parental subsystem is functioning inadequately. Child maintain healthy relationship with the mother, whereas the father-child subsystem is formed but inadequately functioning. There are frequent fight happening between the father and patient, and sibling subsystem is not adequately functioning. There is family members not much involved in another's matters. And the second thing is the boundaries. External boundaries closed and Indian boundaries very rigid. And the communication pattern. Direct communication present between the patient and mother. Switchboard communication between the patient and his father. And the decision making also automatic decision still present by the father side. And the role performance, instrumental role carried by the father only, and the expressive role performed by the mother. Leadership pattern. The nominal head is family, considering as a father. The function head is mother. The reinforcement, behavior control, and social control in the family is inadequate. Cohesion, cohesiveness inadequate in the family. No healthy connectedness and separateness present in the family. An adaptive pattern, conflict resolution also inadequate. Problem solving, coping strategy inadequate. The family support system, primary support system is inadequate. Secondary, from the extended family and the neighbors and the friends, peer groups, the secondary system also inadequate, and tertiary system from the tertiary settings also adequate. And there are mentioned the assessment result. Udaipuri socioeconomic scale has been administered and score 29, which is indicating as middle socioeconomic profile of the family. And the McMaster family assessment device has been administered and indicating the dysfunctionality over the domains of the communication, effective response and effective involvement, behavioral control, and general functioning of the family. Span feature codependency scale administered and reveals that the moderate level of the codependency score has identified 52.6. And the fourth scale is family burden interview schedule administered in the caregivers and reveal the moderate level of the burden in financial, disruption of family leisure, and the family interaction. And the severe level of the burden identified in the domains of the physical and the mental health of the family members, and subjective burden which are given by primary caregivers and the family members. Next slide, ma'am. These are the score of the Uday Parikh socioeconomic scale. Span feature codependency scale, score and impression. These are the McMaster family assessment device. I already mentioned the certain domains which are inadequately functioning. The communication and effective responses, effective involvement, behavior control, and general functioning also dysfunctionally get from our assessment. This is the result of the family burden interview schedule. There are certain domains, physical health of the others considering as a severe, and the mental health of others also severe, and subjective burden also impression as severe. This is the case conceptualization. There are certain factors which is risky for the individual, family, and the environment, which are providing environmental, so which is very risk factor for the patient and the illness also, and certain factors that which is maintaining the individual's illness and all things. And there are some protective factors. From this case, the protective factors is very poor, and risk factors and maintaining factors is more than the protective factors. Psychosocial diagnosis. The first one is Z56, proper related to the employment and unemployment, and the Z62.0, inadequate parent supervision and control, Z63.2, inadequate family support, Z72.1, proper related to alcohol use, Z81.1, family history of the alcohol abuse. Psychosocial intervention, which are done with the individual: motivation enhancement therapy, relapse prevention technique, coping skill training, group work, interactive sessions. And with the family psychoeducation, family focus therapy, focusing on the certain domains: communication, cohesion, adaptive pattern, which are getting from the family assessment device also, and the supportive psychotherapy and the environment modification. Outcome and discussion. As a part of the psychosocial intervention, 14 session was conducted with the family and the individual also. Throughout the individual session, the therapist evaluated the client motivation, effort, appreciated their strength, and provided feedback. The client gained how to manage stresses and avoid the risky situations to taking the substance and the enabling behavior of the father. After the family session, they were able to identify the significant stress factors and recognize how to manage the client from a psychosocial perspective. They were taught the importance of the environment modification in relapse prevention. The family-focused intervention were adequately modified in the domain of the interaction pattern, cohesion, and the adaptive pattern of the family. And the supportive session were effectively address the burdens of the family, which are already assessed from the Pai Kapoor social burden interview schedule. And the challenges and the limitation. The first and foremost challenges is the poor family knowledge about the illness and enabling behavior leads to the patient's continuous relapse. And the second thing, which is the main thing and the basic threat of this case, the codependency has been significantly influenced the coping skill of the patient, which is given by the father only. And the father is not ready for the seeking professional help and not much involved in treatment process of the patient. This is also happening certain kinds of the limitation of the study. The father is not ready for the seeking professional help. And the fourth thing is the family intervention may not be effective until the father's harmful substance use and the enabling behavior are addressed. These are the references. Thank you all.
Thank you, Inshaf. Ma'am, over to you.
I can thank you, Megha. I can say that now CIP is teaching students they are preparing the student in a way that case study is very important for the outcome of any studies. And
Yes.
from social work perspective, it's very good. Now more focus is being given on the case studies portion, and its documentation will help the future students that what can be done in the area to improve our profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Over
ma'am.
to my co-chair.
Thank you, ma'am. Inshaf, I have two questions for
Okay,
you.
sir.
First, you have applied 4 skills, out of which one was Uday Parikh for
Yes,
assessing the socio-economic status.
yes.
We have other scales to assess the socio-economic status. Why Uday Parikh only?
It is the latest model and which is given in 2015. So, and it's usually applying in the areas in the socio-cultural background of the Indian culture. So, which is selected for this purpose. Actually, Indian culture and Indian socio-economic background is entirely different from the others region. So, the region-based scale is more preferable for the study. I think that's why.
Okay, okay. So you said ki it is updated 2015.
Yes, yes, yes.
Have you heard about Kuppuswamy scale?
Kuppuswamy scale, we are usually using that, but
हाँ,
for the recent time, we are using this scale.
अच्छा
Verify.
नहीं ठीक है. Okay, thank you. My next question is कि when you were talking about family focused treatment and intervention,
Yes, sir.
And you said ki in your challenges and उस वाले slide में you said कि unless and until the father's harmful substance behavior was not being controlled, so the family intervention and family focused therapy could not be done. So have you taken any step to you know work on that?
Yes, sir, sure, sir. When we are taking the family sessions, we are already psychoeducated the father. The main and important issue is the father is taking the substance in the home also. That's time father is very resistive. That's not happening from my side. The patient behavior is not influencing by my side, but the patient is frequently saying that he's getting the substance from the home also. So we are taking the initiative with the father, but the first time father is very resistive. After the 3 or 4 session, father is ready for attend the professional help.
ठीक है.
Mm.
Thank you. That was from my side. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ataullah. Thank you, Inshaf, for your presentation. Now moving forward,
Thank you, ma'am.
Miss Saidingi Silo, I would like to invite you and request you to start your presentation. Silo, yeah, over to you. Do you
Please,
want me to share your PPT?
yeah, can you please just share it for me?
Yeah, just wait for me.
Okay. A very good morning to you all. I am Saiding Pri Silo, PhD first year student in the Department of Social Work, Mizoram University. So this morning, I will be talking about child poverty in Northeast and overview. And I am guided by Dr. Henry, who is an associate professor in our department. Next, please. I will make it quick as I don't have much time. So, according to the UN Convention of Rights of the Child, a child is a person who has not yet attained the age of 18 years, and poverty is pronounced deprivation in well-being that can be measured by an individual's possession of income, health, nutrition, education, assets, housing, and certain rights in a society, such as freedom of speech. And according to World Health Organization, 2003, the five core dimensions of poverty reflect the deprivation of human capabilities, such as economic, which includes income, livelihood, decent work; human, that includes health, education; political, includes employment, rights, voice; socio-cultural, like status, dignity; and protective, wherein insecurity, risk, vulnerability. And child poverty is associated with various kinds of neglect, which are nutritional neglect, where a child repeatedly experiences hunger; clothing neglect, where a child lacks clothing; homelessness; neglect healthcare, where the child is exposed to actual or potential harm; educational neglect, inadequate supervision, lack of protection from environmental hazards, and inadequate nurturance, love, affection, and support. Next, please. So from this chart, we can clearly see that in the Northeast, Sikkim has the lowest population poverty rate with 2.8%, followed by Mizoram with 9.8%, and Tripura 16.7%, Manipur 17.9%, Arunachal 24.3%, Nagaland with 25.2%. Assam and Meghalaya have both have the same percentage of poor people with 32.7%. Next, please. So in the overview, it mainly focused on child poverty in Northeast, and the overall literature review shows that poverty can result in mental health problems as well as financial difficulties for people, families, and society as a whole. And according to Global Multidimensional Poverty Index 2021, India's rank is 66 out of 109 countries, and it has three dimensions such as health, and the indicators are nutrition and child mortality, and education, years of schooling, school attendance, and standard of living. Indicators are cooking fuel, sanitation, drinking water, electricity, housing, assets. And over 30% of the extreme poor children living in India alone, more than 80% of children living in extreme poverty reside in rural areas. And the impact of poverty on underprivileged children can be limited access to education, malnutrition, and
Hello,
health issues.
hello.
Next, please.
Will you please
Yes.
come to the methodology and findings because we are running out of time. We are running out of
Okay.
Will you please have methodology? Yes.
All right.
Findings.
Okay. In the methodology, data are collected from secondary sources, as this is only an overview. So secondary sources are the main sources of data collection, which includes journals, articles, web sources, and published works. Next, please. Next, please. No, findings. Okay. In the findings, it is found that poverty has a serious impact on the life of individuals, especially in children who are suffering from poverty. Can you? Okay. Families living in poverty experience a lot of stressors, and children are likely to suffer from unfavorable health, developmental and academic outcomes, which affect their standard of living. And poverty leads to mental illness among children in the family. Poor children experience a disproportionate amount of neglect and social deprivation, and they are slower to develop reading skills when households cannot afford books, toys, and learning materials, and they are less likely to feel valued and loved, and often have lower self-esteem, less self-confidence, and greater incidence of mental health problems, and they feel unsafe, marginalized, exceedingly vulnerable, and constantly threatened. And the longer children live in poverty, the greater their levels of stress and the greater the impact. Next, please. Coming to the conclusion, children living in poverty face various kinds of hardship, which can have a long-term effect on their lives. It is important to create sustainable solutions and break the cycle of poverty. If we wish to take actions in order to stop this, it is important to understand that children cannot end this cycle of dread alone. The most crucial element they lack is resources which they require. So we can provide resources such as food, donations, it can be childcare or free education. So only then we will be able to improve the lives of these underprivileged children and lessen the negative effects of poverty in them. Next, and here are the references used. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Silo. So over to the chairpersons, please.
You did a study or you did just the literature review?
Pardon, ma'am.
Silo, have you done the study or it's just a review of literature you have presented?
A review of literature.
Okay. Then in the title itself, you should have mentioned that whether it is a narrative review, literature review, or what kind of review you are presenting, because it makes a sense then.
Okay.
Okay, because you are a PhD scholar, na, so when you will start reviewing the things and you will do whether it is a kind of review you are going to present, it will also help in your thesis.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, ma'am.
Okay, now over to my co-chairperson.
Thank you, ma'am. Just one quick question because we are running out of time as well. So yes, as ma'am clarified it, it is a review of literature. So what will be your next step? With this review of literature, your findings, what will be your next step?
Okay, we can my present study is mm, 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 child poverty, quality of life, social support and quality of life in Mizoram. So this review will be a great help in my present study. So I will add this review and findings as well in the study, so it can have a great impact.
It is a mandate of PhD that she have to present a paper. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The findings were very good actually. It shows certain areas of our core basically. So that's why I've asked is she has any plans with like to cater the issues or to do with or to more make more understanding for the subject. That's all from my side. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, sir.
Okay, so for while concluding this session, I would like to thank ma'am, Dr. Sushma Kumari, and our other chairperson, Mr. Ataullah, and Bhupendra sir. So, and all of our presenters, you really presented well today. Best wishes to all the presenters for their further presentations and research. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bhupendra sir. So with this, we are leaving this session and see you all in other sessions and conferences. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you. Please join to the main link of the conference. We are going to start our award paper session in the webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bhupender.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ataullah.
Thank you, sir.